you come in as a rookie and like you said, like you're trying to figure out a new environment, new teammates. Like you don't want to say too much. You don't want to say too little. And it's just so hard.
What if I told you that Caitlin Clark's greatest challenge wasn't on the court, but within the locker room? That her most significant achievement wasn't smashing records, but building connections? How do you excel without outshining your teammates? How do you blend in while still standing out?
It's crazy, like looking back at a year ago today or around this time, like I was just beginning my senior year of college. And obviously, you know, people knew who we were and people attended our games, but it's obviously not on the magnitude that it is now.
Yeah.
So like life just changes fast, but that's what makes it fun and cool. And, you know, quickly started a new chapter of my life too, like moving here to Indianapolis. And
in an insightful podcast interview, Clark opened up about her rookie year and how she navigated those challenges. Her comments about her teammates will make you reconsider everything you thought you knew about the Indiana Fever. What are her true feelings toward the team around her? From sophomore Aaliyah Boston to Fever's close friend Lexi Hull and others such as Kelsey Mitchell and Nalissa Smith, we uncover Caitlin's unfiltered thoughts about them. Ready for the inside scoop? Let's dive in.
I mean, it was just a crazy year because you go all the way up to the national championship game and then you're playing right away.
Yeah.
You know, one of my coaches early on in my career said, you know, your rookie year is always so hard because you're in a new city, you're in a new place, you're with a new team, new coaches. There's so much that's not part of the routine that you're so used to. And you had that as like magnified.
Imagine this. Caitlin Clark, the collegiate phenom, steps onto the WNBA court for the very first time. All eyes are fixed on her, with expectations soaring high. However, Clark's greatest obstacle isn't her performance on the court, it's finding her place within the team. During an eye-opening episode of the New Heights podcast, Clark delved into her rookie anxieties. She shared,
but like in my scenario, and obviously you guys too, like you're already highly thought of. Like people are turning to you to like be something or be someone. So it's hard. Like you're trying to get your feet wet, but also not do too much. And I think that's kind of what I struggled in early on is like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how they're going to react.
Pressure was overwhelming, and Clark felt torn between two worlds. She spoke about feeling adrift in the locker room. Should she take the lead or go along with the group? It was a mental battle intensified by her fame. Yet, amidst the turmoil, Clark discovered a positive side. The fast-paced WNBA environment kept her concentrated.
But I think it was good a little bit too. Like you don't have time to overthink things. Like it's just like boom, 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 boom. Yeah, like you're just on to the next. But at the same time, like you don't like, I feel like I never really ended the chapter of college. Like it was just like you up and left. But maybe that's good. You don't have a lot of time to think about it. So I think that's definitely the weirdest part of, you know, women's professional basketball and obviously college basketball too, is just that change. But that's kind of how it has to be too. So it's just different.
Her teammates became her rock during this wild transition. While some teammates caused problems in the beginning, eventually everyone came together to thrive in the WNBA.
For not knowing, you nailed it.
But also, like, I had a lot of really good vets around me too, so I feel very grateful for that. And we had a fairly young team too, so like people had been through it fairly recently, so they knew how I felt. But like, I feel like that definitely is a huge challenge, and that goes for whatever professional sport. Like, you're trying to learn, but also people are looking at you like, you got to perform and like be what they drafted you to be, and that can be tough.
In a heartfelt moment, Clark confessed, "I feel like I never truly closed the chapter of college. It was just like you left. But maybe that's for the best. There isn't much time to dwell on it." This highlighted just how abrupt and challenging the transition to the pros can be, even for a star like Clark.
You mentioned the vets, and I think, you know, for me at least, there was a lot. Some vets were incredible. Some of the vets, obviously, you're competing for jobs, so there's a little bit there, but you lean so much as a young player on your vets, and you lean so much from like, even just like in Philly, there's so many great players that played for the Eagles that, like Harold Carmichael, who was a legendary Philadelphia Eagle, was like always around and willing to lend advice or anything. Did you have many former players or current players like reach out to you that really helped you in transitioning into the WNBA?
As Caitlin Clark continues to navigate the high-pressure world of the WNBA, her journey stands as a powerful example of resilience and growth. From overcoming locker room challenges to embracing the fast-paced professional lifestyle, Clark is not only proving her prowess on the court, but also her ability to build meaningful connections with her teammates. Her honest reflections highlight the complexities of transitioning from college stardom to the pros, reminding us that even the brightest stars face their own set of challenges. What do you think the future holds for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever?
She'll be the biggest female star ever because she can pull up from the parking lot.
She is a killer. She is stone cold.
Caitlin, man, she's a phenomenon. She's the best female collegiate player ever.
Caitlin Clark is capable of magical things.
Caitlin Clark is continuously setting new benchmarks as a trailblazer in women's basketball by revealing a surprising element in her Fever contract. Celebrated for her exceptional talent and leadership on the court, she's now making significant impacts off the court as well. The basketball community is abuzz after an unexpected detail of her Fever contract surfaced, and honestly, it's a game changer, not only for Caitlin, but also for the future of how athletes manage their careers.
Knowing that before Caitlin was Rihanna and Diana and Sue and Rebecca and all of those, Dawn Staley as a player, where does it go? Can it continue to climb, and will it climb on the back of now Paige Bueckers?
For anyone questioning the Caitlin Clark effect, we now have people wanting to watch golf because of her. We saw the kind of offer that Ice Cube made to Caitlin to play in the Big Three. That is $5 million to play 3 months.
Caitlin Clark continues to set new standards in women's basketball by unveiling a groundbreaking detail in her Fever contract. Renowned for her unparalleled talent and leadership on the court, she's now making significant strides off the court as well. The basketball community is abuzz after revealing an unexpected aspect of her Fever contract, and it's a game changer, not just for Caitlin, but for the future of athletes' career management. The Iowa standout has always been ahead of her time, proving she's not just playing basketball, she's elevating the sport itself. What exactly did she disclose, and why is everyone talking about it? Caitlin Clark secured a $28 million deal with the Indiana Fever, setting a standard for how athletes can leverage their influence. According to insiders and Caitlin herself, her contract includes enhanced travel accommodations, personalized support staff, and resources dedicated to her holistic development as a player and leader. At just 22, she's the only professional women's basketball player on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list. Unlike standard team travel arrangements, Caitlin's contract allows her to optimize her schedule and performance, ensuring she can shine without unnecessary distractions. In her first year, she will earn $76,535, along with access to nutritionists, trainers, and mental performance coaches. This reflects the Fever's commitment to player well-being and long-term career sustainability. Reactions have been overwhelmingly positive, with teammates showing genuine support. One player even joked, "If Caitlin's getting all these perks, we'd better start winning more games to keep up." From management's perspective, the Fever's general manager described the contract as a bold step toward redefining excellence in women's basketball. Investing in Caitlin's development is also investing in the future of the league. Fans have praised the move on social media, celebrating Caitlin's role in pushing boundaries and inspiring others. Young athletes everywhere are watching Caitlin's journey and learning that it's okay to demand more. She's not just breaking records, but also breaking barriers, embodying empowerment and leadership. Caitlin handles the spotlight with grace, crediting her teammates and the Fever for believing in her vision. This collective triumph highlights the power of teamwork and innovation. Looking ahead, Caitlin Clark is more than an athlete. She's a trailblazer and a symbol of what's possible when talent meets determination. Her contract with the Fever is a statement of intent, declaring that the future of women's basketball is bright and boundless. By securing provisions that emphasize personal development and well-being, Caitlin is demonstrating that excellence on the court should be matched off the court. The Fever's decision to support her vision marks a cultural shift in women's sports, historically undervalued and under-resourced. Caitlin's contract signals to other franchises and sponsors that investing in female athletes is both ethical and profitable. This move is reminiscent of the legendary Bird Magic rivalry, sparking excitement and essential competition. The domino effect is already taking shape, with other WNBA players exploring similar contract clauses. Younger players are dreaming bigger, inspired by Caitlin's bold move. She advocates not just for her growth, but for the growth of women's basketball as a whole, creating a path for the next generation to thrive. Caitlin Clark has concluded one of the most remarkable years in basketball, backing up her words with actions. She plans to mentor young players and engage in community outreach, creating a transformative ripple effect. Despite critics questioning team equality, Caitlin's approach benefits everyone by enhancing team performance and league recognition. Caitlin's journey is far from over, and this contract is just one chapter in her incredible story. Whether you're a fan or inspired by her drive, there's no denying she's making a lasting impact. Here's to Caitlin Clark, a star on the court, a leader off it, and a true pioneer in every sense of the word.
The reason why it really, really gets my blood boiling is because it's the exact same thing we see in every other sport. The games where she's not playing have lower viewership.
This has to be a joke. Sue Bird is the last person I'd imagine making these kinds of comments about Caitlin Clark. Seriously, Sue? The epitome of generational talent, someone who's witnessed it all, possesses an in-depth understanding of the game, and navigates the intricate court politics better than anyone else. And now she's behaving this way? Come on!
Some people continue to flip that. Those people, I've seen Stephen A. Smith talk about it. I've seen Shannon Sharp talk about it. And that's what I just don't understand is they work for ESPN. So why are you hating on a product? It's a business you're in. It's not that they can't.
This is getting unbelievable. Sue Bird, the WNBA's very own walking history book, has targeted Caitlin Clark. And trust me, it's igniting a lot of conversations.
And yet, we don't hear anyone on the Celtics and the Mavs. That is not how this works. It's because there's some players that are just so transcendent that the viewership's going to be insane no matter what.
Great.
And it has nothing to do with the other players, the other...
Seriously, we're talking about Sue Bird here. She's essentially basketball royalty, yet out of nowhere, she launches an attack on Caitlin Clark, the young star who has been driving the league's ticket sales and viewership through the roof. Why? Apparently, it's because ticket prices and TV ratings have dipped since Clark's team, the Indiana Fever, were knocked out of the playoffs. But that's hardly shocking. Clark is a true fan magnet, plain and simple.
And to imply that we should just ignore the impact that Caitlin Clark had and still continues to have on this team, this league, this sport. Nah, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, Sue Bird.
Honestly, just look at the Golden State Valkyries, an expansion team that's already sold out around 18,000 season tickets. Clark doesn't even play for them, yet her influence is undeniable. Still, some people keep twisting the narrative. I've seen Stephen Smith discuss it, I've seen Shannon Sharp talk about it, and here's what I don't understand. They work for ESPN. Why are they attacking a product that's literally part of their business?
Stephen A. and with Shannon, there's an aspect of them like defending their stances on her. Like, we were right about Caitlin and this is our defense. And I still think there's something twisted there because nobody ever said.
It's not that they can't express their opinions. But Sue didn't just mention it and move on. Oh no, she went all out, even pulling Stephen A. and Shannon Sharpe into the fray. And let's be honest, those two are renowned for their brutally honest takes on everything. So, what exactly is Sue Bird upset about? Is it Stephen A. and Shannon Sharpe calling it as they see it? It's not even like they're wrong.
I don't know how you explain, like, honestly, look at the Golden State Valkyries. It's an expansion team. They've already sold out, I think it's 18,000 season tickets. Caitlyn doesn't play there. And yet some people continue to flip that. Those people, I've seen Stephen A. Smith talk about it. I've seen Shannon Sharpe talk about it. And that's what I just don't understand is they work for ESPN. So why are you hating on a product? It's a business you're in. It's not that they can't.
Let's dive into the entire Bird versus Clark drama for a moment. Could this be stemming from bitterness? Let's be honest. Caitlin Clark skyrocketed to become the face of women's basketball almost overnight. She's drawing massive crowds and achieving viewership numbers like no one else ever has. But then Sue steps in, casting shade on anyone who dares to acknowledge the obvious. The WNBA is struggling to keep pace without Clark on the court.
Sue Bird calls out ESPN hosts for, quote, hating on WNBA playoff ratings after Caitlin Clark's exit. You say, what? Why? Why, y'all? Really? This is where we have to go?
The WNBA tries to portray its achievements as the product of collective advancement. But let's be honest, is Caitlin Clark truly propelling the league forward? Without her, TV ratings drop, ticket sales plunge, and merchandise revenue disappears. The league should be going above and beyond to keep her satisfied, instead of clinging to outdated pay structures that scream, "We don't truly value you." Fans aren't oblivious to this nonsense. Social media is inundated with demands for change. People are highlighting the absurdity of her salary relative to her impact. It's not just a matter of fairness, it's a business issue. You don't underpay the individual who is vital to your survival. That's not only poor optics, it's poor math. Yet, the WNBA seems too busy celebrating minor growth to realize they're engaging in a risky strategy. If they don't evolve, they risk losing not only Clark, but also the entire momentum she has built. Talented players like her are rare. They're once-in-a-generation athletes who can transform a sport. If the WNBA fails to find a way to compensate her appropriately, don't be shocked if other leagues or opportunities come her way.
You know, I love talking about Caitlin Clark on this show, and she participated in some kind of LPGA Pro-Am, drew monster crowds. There's pictures of just like everybody trying to get an autograph with Caitlin Clark.
Outrageous criticism, media frenzy, and a string of headlines. It's safe to say that Caitlin Clark has been at the center of controversy over the past few months. In a move that caught everyone off guard, Clark struck a headline-making deal with the LPGA, calling her WNBA legacy into question and sparking debates about loyalty, fame, and ambition.
Yeah. One more quick photo. Caitlin, say Monica. Great to meet you. Looking forward to the afternoon together. Okay, go. Come on. Hug it out. Squeeze in close together. We'll get one right here, please.
Speaking of which, the Caitlin Clark effect is starting to take shape. After delivering what could be the best rookie season in NBA history, she made the unexpected move to female golf, where she's now being heralded as the next big thing. But how did Clark manage to conquer 2 worlds in just 8 months? And why are critics calling her success a betrayal of women's basketball? In this video, we'll break down everything from Caitlin Clark's new deal to the backlash and everything surrounding her controversial journey. But before we dive in, let's take a trip down memory lane. At the start of the year, the Caitlin Clark effect was undeniable. Even before she set foot on a WNBA court, ticket sales for every platform skyrocketed by over 90% once she declared for the draft. Her performance in the league has been nothing short of outstanding. In her rookie season with the Indiana Fever, she averaged 19 points per game, scoring at least 13 points in 29 of her 36 games this year. What's even more surprising are her record-breaking feats, becoming the first player in WNBA history to hit over 100 three-point shots and rack up 300 assists in a single season. At this point, NBA analysts were already calling her a generational talent, but Clark's influence wasn't just reflected in the numbers, it was in the stands as well. Every week, Fever games turned into must-watch events, with fans traveling from across the country to see her play. She brought an entirely new audience to the WNBA. Meanwhile, Reese wasn't just riding the wave of hype, she was making her own history, becoming the first rookie to record an all-star game, double-double, the first WNBA player to achieve back-to-back 20-rebound games, and pulling off an impressive 24 double-doubles in her rookie season. While others are still trying to catch up, Reese is reshaping the game, and Clark has done more than just elevate the league's profile. However, while Clark was drawing record crowds, boosting TV ratings, and breathing new life into women's basketball, the WNBA failed to make her the face of the league. As a result, Caitlin Clark is now taking her talents and fan base elsewhere. Enter her debut at an LPGA Pro-Am, which drew bigger crowds than some of the tour's main events. At this point, she's not just rewriting the narrative in basketball, she's also making waves in women's golf. Playing alongside world number 1 Nelly Korda at the Pelican Golf Club's Annika Pro-Am, Clark showed that her influence extends far beyond the basketball court. If anyone thought her dominance was limited to the hardwood, her impressive performance on the greens has now silenced many doubters. When Caitlin Clark stepped onto the Pelican Golf Club course, it was clear this wasn't just another golfer taking their turn. The LPGA capitalized on the moment by pairing Clark with Nelly Korda, a marketing move that spotlighted both players as generational talents. The anticipation was electric, and even the Golf Channel rearranged its programming to cover her live, something unheard of for a Pro-Am event. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark took the spotlight in Florida, drawing massive crowds, and once again, proving that her star power extends well beyond the basketball court. Alongside Korda, Clark played with tournament host Annika Sorenstam, teeing off at the crack of dawn and launching an early shot into the gallery. Fans were glued to her every move at Pelican Golf Club. The WNBA Rookie of the Year's presence drove ticket sales and boosted media attention for the event. After the round, she was swarmed for autographs, and with an endorsement deal from Gainbridge, the LPGA tournament's sponsor, and a role in a women's leadership summit, it was clear her presence was far from casual. While Clark insists that golf is her escape, her single long-range putt left fans wondering, is she just playing for fun, or is she quietly taking over yet another sport? One thing is clear, the LPGA is thriving on Caitlin Clark's star power in a way the WNBA could only dream of. The media and golf elite couldn't stop singing her praises. 8-time LPGA champion Nelly Korda, who played alongside Clark, had nothing but admiration for her after the game, praising her skills and presence on the course.
It was so amazing. She's so sweet, so nice. It was nice to kind of get to spend some time with her. We've messaged a little on Instagram beforehand, but to get to spend some time with her and to see the influence that she has on people, bringing people out here, and to see how amazing of an influence she is.
The praise didn't stop with Nelly Korda. LPGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan was equally blown away, calling Caitlin Clark's performance incredible and applauding her passion for the game. Overall, Clark's presence on the course didn't just spark excitement, it stirred up drama. Her growing star power now threatens to overshadow seasoned pros in yet another sport. Is Caitlin Clark the crossover phenom golf never knew it needed? Or is this a sign that women's sports are evolving faster than their leagues can keep up? At this point, it's clear Clark isn't slowing down anytime soon. However, not everyone is cheering for Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise. While Korda and Monahan praised her for uniting fans across sports, insiders in the WNBA are reportedly seething over her crossover success. The LPGA's full-court press to spotlight Clark has left some in the WNBA feeling left behind. Insiders claim league officials are frustrated, not only by the LPGA's success, but also because the WNBA has failed to fully capitalize on Clark's star power. Social media lit up with clips of her swings, and national basketball and golf media flocked to the event. Tournament host and golf legend Annika Sorenstam captured the moment perfectly, highlighting Clark's undeniable impact on the sport. For better or worse, Caitlin Clark is rewriting the playbook for crossover stardom and shaking up women's sports in the process. Despite questions about her commitment to golf, it was revealed she's been swinging clubs since childhood. After making her 2023 debut at the John Deere Classic alongside major champion Zach Johnson, Clark's appearance at the Pelican Golf Club proved one thing: her crossover appeal is no fluke. Meanwhile, WNBA enthusiasts are rumored to feel overshadowed by Clark's dominance on the golf course, despite her record-breaking rookie season on the basketball court. While golf fans flock to see her tee off and whispers of a potential LPGA contract swirl, WNBA fans are left asking why their league hasn't given Clark the same level of attention. Take her Rookie of the Year award, for example. Rather than a grand celebration for her groundbreaking achievements, it was handed out in a nearly empty arena with little fanfare, a baffling move for someone who has done more to elevate the league in one season than most players do in a career. As the buzz around Clark's golf ventures intensifies, the WNBA's failure to capitalize on her star power becomes increasingly obvious. The LPGA has done what the WNBA couldn't. They turned Caitlin Clark's star power into a game changer. But here's the irony. Caitlin's rise should be a win for everyone. She has brought unprecedented attention to women's sports. Yet, while the LPGA embraced the moment and ran with it, the WNBA stayed stuck in its old ways, hesitant, overly cautious, and failing to seize the bold opportunity. When a male NBA or NFL star steps into another sport, social media explodes with hype. This was the WNBA's chance to do the same, celebrate Clark, ride the wave of excitement, and prove they can champion their biggest stars. Instead, they fumbled. Now, the league finds itself at a crossroads, grappling with a familiar issue: how to balance promoting standout players like Clark while still pushing the league forward as a whole. The LPGA made its move and won. Meanwhile, the WNBA risks being left in the dust, overshadowed by a star they didn't know how to celebrate. As Clark juggles her intense off-season training while fielding interest from the rapidly growing 3-on-3 women's basketball league, her crossover into golf raises an even bigger question. Is Caitlin Clark reshaping women's sports? Or is she quietly stepping away from basketball altogether?
I think, kind of how you mentioned earlier, just finding the rhythm, finding the confidence in game. Shooting 25 shots in a row in practice is different than getting your 4 looks in a game and not being able to knock them down and having the confidence to continue shooting them. So I think just getting the opportunity in that second half of the season and seeing them go in and then continuing to get those open looks really just fed that confidence, and I think that hot streak towards the end.
I couldn't bring myself to face my teammates anymore. We just longed for it to end. These chilling remarks from Lexi Hull shook the WNBA landscape in her latest explosive interview. Hull finally speaks out about the Indiana Fever's 2024 season with Caitlin Clark. What transformed this struggling squad into championship contenders? Why did Hull's bond with Clark surprise everyone? Hull uncovers the team's secrets, locker room tensions, and the truth behind their legendary turnaround. You won't believe what truly happened behind closed doors.
I mean, the numbers support it. We obviously know it is a truism, but even last year, where the numbers were not where you wanted them to be, when you play 10 to 19 minutes, you shot 11% from three. When you played 20 to 29, it was 22%. You played north of 30 minutes, you were 33%. You were finding it as you went, and then obviously you've elevated all of those levels in the process. Was there a moment that, when you're talking to Christy Sides early on, where you're being told, I am going to get more of this playing time, more of this opportunity? And does that help feed your confidence as well?
The 2024 season kicked off as a relentless nightmare for the Indiana Fever. Lexi Hull reclines in her chair, takes a deep breath, and reveals what truly transpired during those grueling early weeks. 11 games in just 20 days. It still sounds unbelievable, even when she recounts it now. She shakes her head in disbelief. This wasn't merely a tough schedule, it was the most intense stretch the WNBA had witnessed since 2003.
I mean, honestly, I can't really pinpoint a moment. It was, I think, just I was given a chance in a game, and I hit a couple early ones, and then you get a couple more minutes, and you hit another one and you get a couple more minutes. So it wasn't ever like I was told you're going to be playing today, make sure you take advantage of it. It was just,
Right.
when you're sitting on that bench and you don't know when your number is going to be called, and when it finally is called, just trying to take advantage of it. And I was just happy that the ball went in.
We were trudging back to the hotel at 2 a.m. after a game, and guess what? Another game awaited us the very next night. Hull discloses that the team was completely drained, barely having the chance to analyze game footage, let alone train. The physical toll was unmistakable. Ice packs, trips to the training room, and fatigued faces became commonplace in the Fever locker room. Yet, the mental strain was even more intense. Hull's voice softens as she recalls those dark times. Doubts begin to creep in. Your shots miss, your legs feel heavy, and the losses keep stacking up. It messes with your mind. The team's record plummeted to 2-11, a start that left fans and the media questioning whether the Fever could ever turn things around.
Do you know what you shot from three? You shot 66.7% from three. When you went out there, there's no such thing as tired legs in that scenario. You are 2 and 3. No one does that. No one does. I mean, it's just incredible.
The pressure became unbearable. Every missed shot felt personal, and each loss deepened our doubts. Hull remembers sitting alone in the gym after a tough defeat. My three-point percentage had dropped to 11%, and I couldn't make a basket like I did at Stanford. Coach Christy Sides saw the team struggling and called a meeting that changed everything. Hull's eyes light up as she recounts. Coach didn't yell or give a speech. She listened. For 3 hours, we shared our struggles. It felt like a weight was lifted. We realized we weren't alone. The next day, everything changed. Practices focused on small victories, strong defense, perfect passes, and supporting each other after mistakes. Coach told us to stop watching the scoreboard and start looking at each other, Hull explains. This shift turned the Fever around, transforming them into championship contenders.
When did you know that it was finally going to click for you? I mean, yeah, you hit 4 threes early on in the year, on May 25th against Las Vegas. There were signs early on that you were finding it. This before you even were starting. Was there a moment where it felt like this was finally happening? And again, was there any sort of off-season change? Was there anything that you were doing differently that helped this happen? Or does the ball just start going through the hoop for you?
May the 25th, 2024, the game that changed everything. The Fever faced Las Vegas, the league's powerhouse, and nobody expected them to win. I wasn't slated for major minutes, but then something magical happened. The first 3 shots went in, and it felt different, Hull recalls, imitating her shooting motion. By the 4th shot, the crowd was wild. Hull had found her groove and confidence. This led to one of the most remarkable turnarounds in WNBA history. Her shooting soared from 11% to 47.1% from three-point range. When the coach gave me more minutes, everything clicked, she explains. In games with over 30 minutes, she shot an incredible 66.7% from beyond the arc.
I think for me, we have some incredible playmakers on our team and incredible people that can get you the ball when you're open and create advantages. And so me being one of those people that I'm spacing the floor and I need to knock down those shots. So not only, holding myself accountable to do that as my role and hit those open looks, but also being able to stand up for my teammates and say, thank you. You're doing the work, you're doing the hard work, and I'll be here and I'll knock it down when I need to.
But the numbers only tell part of the story. The true transformation happened during practice. Hull reveals their secret weapon, midnight sessions after games. While most teams slept, we were in the gym. Coach Sides would spread out the balls and say, "Show me you want it." These late-night practices became legendary. Veterans mentored rookies, and players with limited minutes pushed the starters in scrimmages. The team developed unique signals, inside jokes, and a chemistry beyond basketball. We became more than teammates, Hull says. We became family. Her shooting routine was almost religious, 500 shots before and after practice. She studied film of her successful games, perfecting her form. As her shots improved, the team's chemistry off the court strengthened too. They began having team dinners, movie nights, and community service events. Fighting alongside people you care about hits different, Hull explains. Then everything changed when Caitlin Clark joined the Indiana Fever's practice facility. Lexi Hull recalls, the energy was different. Media and fans surrounded the gym. Hull laughs about her first practice with Clark. I had to rewire my brain, she admits. I'd be running to the basket, and suddenly the ball was in my hands. Caitlin found impossible angles. The chemistry between Clark and Hull developed quickly. They stayed after practice to work on timing and understanding each other. Caitlin would say, "If you get to this spot, I'll find you every time," and she did. But the pressure to perform intensified under the national spotlight. There were games where we felt the weight of expectations and constant attention. It tests you mentally, Hull admits. From nearly quitting to becoming one of the WNBA's deadliest shooters, Lexi Hull's journey with the Indiana Fever is about never giving up.
First person I can honestly say that looks like Steph Curry. Like she's not guardable right now, and she can hit almost any shot from the outside.
Almost any. How much of a power she is out there on the court. The cool part is the way that she plays and her range and the level of difficulty on her shots is obviously a very close comparison.
From long-range shots to lasting influence, Caitlin Clark isn't just setting records, she's shattering them. Surpassing even Steph Curry's iconic three-point average, she's reshaping the future of basketball. But what happens when Caitlin Clark crosses paths with Steph Curry's legacy?
Do you think Caitlin Clark could beat Steph Curry in a three-point contest?
That's tough. Shooters can have an off night. You just never know. Caitlin has no conscience where she pulls from.
Steph has no conscience where he pulls from.
Been doing it for a long time, so can never go against Steph. Steph has been doing it for a long time.
Recently, Caitlin Clark has solidified her place in basketball history, and it's not just because of her scoring ability, it's where she scores from. New stats show that Caitlin Clark now holds the record for the longest average three-point range, an incredible 28 feet.
I think the WNBA narrative right now is Caitlin Clark, and I think that's a good narrative, but it's also not the only narrative. Caitlin is an amazing generational talent, and she's going to do amazing things. You're the #1 pick. People are going to go after.
This remarkable accomplishment not only surpasses the previous record held by NBA legend Steph Curry, but it also sets a new, higher standard for shooting excellence in basketball. By pushing the boundaries of what was once thought possible, Caitlin Clark has redefined the range at which players can score. inspiring future generations to aim even further.
Do I need to call you the female version of Steph Curry, or do I need to call Steph Curry the male version of Caitlin Clark?
I think I'll just be the female version of Steph.
At just 22 years old, Clark's achievement is far more than a statistical outlier. It's a reflection of her unmatched skill, court awareness, and unshakable confidence. As the all-time leading scorer in college basketball, regardless of gender, she has already left an indelible mark on the game. With her new record-breaking 28-foot average, Caitlin Clark has not just added a new statistic to her resume, she's fundamentally redefined what it means to be a sharpshooter in the modern era. To put her accomplishment into perspective, Steph Curry, widely considered the greatest shooter in basketball history, boasts a three-point range averaging around 27 feet. At the time, that seemed untouchable. Curry's range revolutionized the game, sparking an era of deep shooting and permanently changing the way basketball is played. But now, Caitlin Clark has pushed that boundary even further, raising the bar to new heights.
I love me some Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter in the history of basketball.
However, Clark has taken that revolution even further, stretching the boundaries of possibility with an additional foot of range that makes her a constant threat the moment she crosses half court. This is no accident. Clark's shooting range is the result of years of dedicated training, an innate basketball IQ, and an unwavering competitive spirit. Her shooting form is a perfect balance of precision and power, enabling her to effortlessly launch shots from well beyond the arc. But what truly sets her apart is her fearlessness. Clark isn't afraid to take shots from distances most players wouldn't even think about. Whether it's a contested three in the final seconds of a game or a casual pull-up from 30 feet on the fast break, she makes what seems impossible look completely effortless.
Shout out to Caitlin Clark. She's a certified bucket. To quote Shaq, I was not familiar with her game. I respect her game. She's a fucking baller. She was pulling up like Steph Curry from deep. But I just got one question. Matt, do you think you can beat Caitlin Clark in one-on-one?
Absolutely not. Nobody
crazy.
Here can.
I'm busting her ass. You wild. Shit. You wild, bro.
This record also speaks volumes about the evolution of women's basketball. Clark's success stands as a powerful testament to how the game has progressed, with athletes consistently pushing the limits of what's possible on the court. Her remarkable shooting range has drawn comparisons to Curry, but it has also established her as a trailblazer in her own right, showing that women's basketball is just as dynamic, innovative, and game-changing as the men's game.
I think Steph Curry made the WNBA watchable.
Caitlin Clark, baby.
The way that Caitlin Clark was playing was a very digestible form of basketball. But now this girl out of nowhere is playing like Steph, and it was still digestible.
Meanwhile, Clark has reached this milestone in an era where defenders are more focused than ever on limiting long-range threats. Opponents specifically game plan to neutralize her, yet she continues to excel, constantly finding ways to create space and sink one clutch shot after another from deep. Her 28-foot average isn't just a number, it's a declaration of dominance. As Caitlin Clark keeps breaking records and exceeding expectations, the basketball world is left to wonder just how much further she can push the boundaries of shooting.
Is there anybody in the NBA under the age of 30 that's a bigger name, bigger jaw, bigger star than Caitlin Clark?
For now, one thing is clear. Clark has not only surpassed Steph Curry's legendary mark, but has firmly established herself as one of the most transformative figures in basketball. Her 28-foot average three-point range is more than just a record, it's the foundation of a legacy in the making. Caitlin Clark isn't just redefining the game of basketball, she's reshaping its entire business model. The sharpshooting sensation, already celebrated for her historic three-point average that outpaces even Curry, is demonstrating that her influence extends far beyond the court.
I mean, honestly, $1,000 for a family of four to go to a WNBA game. That seems wild. It really does. The Clark effect.
Clark now represents an incredible 1/4 of all WNBA merchandise and ticket sales. This remarkable achievement highlights her power to attract fans, drive revenue, and become a true game changer for women's sports. Moreover, in a league that has long battled for visibility and equality, Clark has sparked an unprecedented wave of fan engagement. From jerseys bearing her name to arenas packed with fans chanting in her honor, Clark is more than just a player. She's become a movement.
Caitlin Clark, her style of play it's not just her individually as a person or what skin color she is. I think it's, more so about her style of play, her playing.
According to reports, her merchandise sales alone make up nearly 25% of the WNBA's total revenue in this category, an extraordinary figure that speaks to her unmatched popularity. Whether it's fans buying her iconic number 22 jersey or scooping up exclusive Caitlin Clark-themed collectibles, her appeal is undeniable. The same goes for ticket sales. Clark's games are an event, consistently attracting record-breaking crowds.